Well, we'll get started anyway. Are you ready, Tuffy?
Sure.
Okay, we're gonna start, everyone. This is gonna be a mix of mobility, a little bit of yoga, and maybe a short meditation. So as far as tools for your practice, if you have sensitive knees or shins, you could have a little towel, a blanket, something to pad underneath your shins and knees. Maybe a bottle of water and or a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, no big deal. You could probably get by without one or use a book. Dogs are also optional. The other thing that I've been telling people with live broadcasts is you are required to have a sense of humor as well, because sometimes unexpected things happen. So be prepared for anything. All right, you ready, guys? Okay, let's all face this direction. Let's just start at the top of our mats, standing in a natural Tadasana stance. Some of you might like your feet all the way together. I personally like mine just a little bit wider. You have the option here of closing your eyes or just setting your gaze on a still point. Take your attention to the soles of your feet. Lift and spread your toes and then let them lay back down. And start to shift your body weight over to the right, over to the left. You might let your hips sway a little bit. Your trunk can tip one direction as your hips glide the other direction, sensing how that changes the experience in your feet. And then maybe you start to take your middle body through your pelvis into a circle. So you'll rotate to the right, to the front, to the left, to the back, almost like a really slow hula hoop action. You just do that once or twice in each direction. And then come back to standing in Tadasana. Tip your head so that your right ear gets a little closer to your right shoulder. And then make sure your shoulder stays relaxed and the work is just really easy here. No pushing. And come back up to the center and tip your head over towards your left shoulder. And then bring yourself back to center. Step your feet a little closer together and squeeze your legs as if they were one strong leg. Cross your arms out in front of your body. You can hold onto your upper arms or your shoulders, and then press your arms down onto your chest. Side bend to your right. Rotate your chest a little bit towards the floor to the right, like you're going to twist just your upper body. Keep your hips facing forward. Now flex forward, almost like cat pose. Tuck your chin a little bit, and then take a little twist over to the left, and then side bend to your left. And then take a teeny tiny back bend, like you're rolling your spine over a big beach ball. We're gonna keep circling our spine like this, really slow and controlled, just through that upper spine, above the navel. Take it at your own pace. Try to keep your shoulders down, neck long. One more time this way, and then we'll go the other way. Isolating the thoracic spine from the rest of your body. Now reverse that direction. Lay your spine backwards first, tip to the left, little twist and flexion to the center, and then twist right, side bend right, lay over that big beach ball. 2 more times. Be really strong in your legs and hips. And activating those inner thighs and glutes. This is our last revolution. And then come back to standing in your Tadasana. Separate your legs, maybe pedal your legs, and just swing your arms a little bit. Just kind of let them fly. Your lower body can help to rotate a little bit up top. Soften through your jaw. Bring a little smile to your lips. And then stand nice and tall again. Tadasana, eyes can close. Let's notice our breathing. If it's possible for you to breathe through your nose, if there's no obstruction or anything like that, then let's keep a seal on our lips today and breathe through our nostrils as much as possible. Think of your body, your upper body, your trunk like a cylinder. And you're gonna try to make equal pressure on your inhale all around that core cylinder so that your sides fill up just as much as your front and back does. Two more breaths. Final inhale and exhale, open your eyes, raise your arms over your head, take a nice long stretch. Your arms can stay pretty wide like a V. Root down through your feet and reach up through your arms. Do your best to keep your bottom ribs knitted towards one another. Inhale, get a little taller in your spine, and then as you exhale, take your arms out, bend your knees, hinge through your hips, and fold over your thighs. Heel toe your feet out a little wider if that's better for you. And potentially you would put a pretty good bend in your knees here to just dangle passively over your legs. Let your head hang. You've got an obstacle, Jeremiah. Nod your head gently, yes. Remind yourself it's okay to try new things, and then shake your head no, just to remember that you can say no to any of this stuff at any time. Bend your knees more and come down to tabletop position. Take your knees a little wider and then rock your hips back towards your heels, almost like you would for child's pose. When you reach your arms forward, take them a little wider than your shoulders, towards the edges of your mat. Keep your hips back towards your heels, untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet into the ground, and then make a cat arch with your upper back. Draw your sternum back to your spine, dome your upper back. Now pull your heart forward through your arms, almost like a cow pose, but it's happening just in the top part of our spine. So little cats and cows just in this upper back. Finding a rhythm that is unique to you with your breath if you'd like. Last one. Make your way to a traditional tabletop position with your wrists about under your shoulders, knees about under the hips. Now we're going to keep our upper back and neck real quiet and tilt and tuck the pelvis only. The pelvis and the low back are going to both move between this posterior tuck and this anterior tilt, but notice if you can do this movement without affecting your upper body too much. Pause in neutral. And let's put all that together. Your regular cat-cow. You can move super slow with articulation if you like, starting at the tailbone, working your way up towards your head. Or you can move with your breathing. Inhale to cow, exhale to cat seems to be the traditional way, but sometimes it's fun to mix it up. So you could try inhaling to your cat and exhaling to your cow if you want a novel experience. This will be our last one. Excellent. Rock your hips back towards your heels and either sit on your heels or sit on your yoga block in between your heels. If this bothers your knees at all, you would also be fine to be in this high kneeling position, potentially patting your knees. Reach your left arm out in front of you and a little bit wider than your shoulder, thumb side of your hand up. Try to keep your spine nice and straight and neutral without back bending. So thinking no cow pose. Raise your arm up and to the left a little bit. Once you reach your maximum upward reach, internally rotate your arm and take it behind you, like you're reaching for something in the back seat of your car. Turn your palm to face the sky and then all the way behind the abs. Try to keep your shoulder down if you can. Now raise your arm as high as it'll go. Once you reach the max, externally rotate your arm and take it back over your head and out in front of you towards the right, so crisscross, yes. Inhale, reach up and out. Internal rotation to reach behind. And then keep that internal rotation as you lift your arm. Once you max it out, externally rotate, bring it back overhead, and crisscross in front of your chest. Let's do one more like that. Really slow and controlled. Add a little extra muscular awareness around that shoulder. Keep the rest of your body really still. Last one, up and around and across. Okay, so now that we've done our left arm, let's give our knees a break and see how this first downward dog feels. Just knowing that we've only really done much of a warm up with the left shoulder. Tuck your toes, start to pike your hips up and back, stretch your spine, feel what you feel. Notice what you notice and find your breath. And then settle back down onto your shins and knees. You can sit back, sit on your block, or come onto your shins. I'm going to turn this way for this one so you guys can see. Okay, right arm's going to be out in front of you a little wider than your shoulder, thumb up. Reach overhead. Try to keep your spine neutral. Once you max that out and you can't reach your arm behind your ear anymore, then internally rotate your arm and take it behind your body. Keep that internal rotation. Keep reaching back into shoulder extension. Once you've maxed it out, you can't go any further, then rotate your arm the other way. Take it over your head and cross your body. 2 more really slow and controlled rotations of your right shoulder joint. Spinning that upper arm bone first, rather than turning the wrist first. The wrist likes to go first because it's a lot more mobile. So see if you can get your upper arm bone to rotate first. Last one. First we have the dog drinking water, then we have the dog digging a hole in the bed. Fun times. Okay, last one, coming up and around, crisscross. And then relax your shoulder. Find your downward facing dog one more time. Can I move you, buddy? Tuck your toes, pike your hips, stretch your spine. It's okay, it's okay. I'm not happy about that. Pedal your legs out a little bit here. Let your hips sway. As you bend one knee, send the other heel towards the earth. Make sure your neck feels comfortable here in your downward dog, not overly tucking the chin or lifting the chin. Just trying to keep your head on straight in the same direction of your spine. Shift forward to a plank. If at any time this gets to be too intense, you could lower your knees. If your wrists don't like plank, you could do this on your forearms. Think of dragging your hands back towards your toes and pulling your toes towards your hands, like you're trying to pull the front of your mat towards the back of your mat. Keep that action of pulling. Start to bend your elbows and hover yourself to the floor. Good. Untuck your toes, press your feet down. Lengthen through the sides of your neck. Keep your chin slightly tucked like you're holding a grapefruit under there. Lift through the back of your skull, and with just a little help from your arms, rise your chest to a low cobra. Keep your upper back muscles working, tailbone heavy, and then all the way down. Retuck your toes, and then push the floor away. Come through a plank or a tabletop, and then downward facing dog. Lift your heels. Walk, step, or float your feet to the front of your space. Forward fold. Take your hands to your hips and come up about halfway. Put a little bend in your knees, make your back strong and long. Think of headbutting the front of the room with the top of your head, and then bring your shoulders a little closer. High five the back wall. On your next inhale, stand all the way up, reach your arms out and up. Exhale, bring your hands together at your heart, and then bring your arms beside your body. Inhale, upward salute, reach up, stand up tall. Exhale, hinge at your hips and dive down, fold. Come halfway up, lengthen, make it long and strong. Fold over your legs, step back to a plank or a kneeling plank. Pause here. Pivot your heels to the left. Keep your hands as they are. Come back to the center, pivot your heels to the right. Nice Julie, I'm liking that. And come back to the center. Downward facing dog, hips rise. Nice long back. And then come back down onto your knees. Lower onto your forearms. Widen your upper back. Bring your left heel towards your seat like you're trying to hold a tennis ball behind your left knee. Reach your left leg back behind you, but keep your back in neutral. So try to keep the wrinkles out of your low back in your shirt here. Now we're just going to wag the leg back and forth between internal rotation and external rotation. So as you take your leg externally, your knee will angle out and your toe will point inward. And then the opposite is true for internal hip rotation. The knee will turn in as the toes reach out. 2 more times, out and in. Button up your ribs a little bit. So it's here and here. There it is. Try not to move anything else. Okay, switch legs. Work on keeping your pelvis nice and level and just get your thigh bone to turn. Outward and inward. Nice firm expansion in the upper shoulder area. There you got it. Last couple. And then bring your knees back down underneath you. You could have either a child's pose or a simple kneeling pose. Spine can be upright. Arms could be forward or back in your child's pose. Notice if there's any unnecessary holding, gripping, or tension around your jaw, your neck, your mouth. Try to soothe that away with your breath. Reconnecting your attention back to your inward landscape, despite any distractions that might keep coming up for you. And that's a skill just like any other. That's why we practice. Downward facing dog. Take your time getting there. Let your left heel be heavy. Bend your right knee and bring your right heel up towards your tush. Send your right leg up and back. And now we're going to rotate this whole right hip all the way around. Try to keep your pelvis pretty stable and see if you can get that thigh to move. Go the other direction now. That's good, Jubilee. Now lift your left heel and stretch your right leg up and back as straight as it'll go, like you're trying to touch the ceiling. Draw your right thigh into your chest as you bend your knee. Shift towards a plank. Step your right foot by your right thumb. If it doesn't quite make it, just use your right hand and help it along. Runner's lunge. And then straight into your front leg any amount. Lift your right toes if you like. Rebend your front leg. Runners. Lift your heart slightly forward. And then straighten out your front leg. This next one, let's rebend the left knee. Left hand can be on a block or the floor. Open your chest to the right for a twisting runner's lunge. Think of lengthening your sternum forward as you rotate in your upper back. Bring your right hand back down. Bring your left hand back down. Right leg up and back, downward dog splits. And then regular down dog. Inhale forward to the plank. Optional vinyasa here, the way that you like to do it, or you could skip all of that and just come right back to downward dog. Send your left leg up as you bend your knee. Make your right heel heavy and then rotate your left hip nice and slow with muscular control, both directions. Kick your left leg straight to the sky. Lift your right heel as high as it'll go to make some space to step through. Find a little dome in your back to help with that. Runner's lunge. And then work into a little bit straighter in your front leg. Maybe your toes lift. Rebend. Chest forward slightly. Find your runner's lunge. Right hand can be down on your block or floor. Twist open to the left. Return your left and right hand back to the ground as part of your foundation. Left leg up and back, downward dog splits. And then find regular down dog. Shift forward to a plank. Pivot your heels to the left. You can stack or stagger your feet. Right arm can lift, or you can stay with both hands to the ground. Return right hand. Pivot heels over to the right. Same options. You can keep your arms grounded or take it into side plank. Regular plank. Optional flow your way or downward facing dog. Lift your heels, walk yourself to the front of your mat. Choose a position for your feet for chair pose, Utkatasana. So some of us like them all the way together, other people like them about hips width. Drop your hips down towards your heels and then bring your arms out in front of you. Today, let's go arms shoulder height and then palms touching and squeezing your arms in. So you can feel a little work here in the front of the chest. Building some heat now in the thighs. Finding a lot of weight in the heels and a lightness to the toes. They don't have to lift, but it can be pretty light. We're going to ground through our right leg and try to take the left knee up towards the left elbow without lowering the arm. So just lift that left foot as high as it'll go. Don't worry about if it doesn't get very far, that's fine. And then switch. Slowly set it down. Drive through your left heel, lift the right leg. Wah! And then lower it down. Tadasana. Rest your arms beside you, stand up tall. Take a breath. Come back to standing only on your right leg. This time, we'll bring the left knee out in front of us. Arms can be any position, so it could be out to a T, overhead, by your side, to your heart. And remembering what we did in our tabletop, we're going to work on rotating this elevated leg. So for hip external rotation, angle your knee outward and your heel inward. And for internal rotation, spiral the knee inward and the foot will move out. See if you can keep your knee right in front of your hip. Rather than opening and closing the leg, just rotate. 2 more. Okay, now for the fun part. Take your arms out to a T. Now we're going to rotate on our standing leg. So think of turning your right toes outward to the right as you step your left leg back for a warrior 2. Land lightly on the ball of your foot first and then adjust your stance till it feels right. Nice, Jeremiah. Virabhadrasana 2. Flip your palms open. Reverse your warrior. Stay long on both sides of your spine. Keep bending into your right knee if you want a little more. When you're ready to exhale, let's take it down to that runner's twist. Left hand down, right arm high. Two hands to the floor. Downward dog or a flow, your choice. Downward dog, transitioning back to the front of your space. Find your forward fold. You can either just dangle or you can make it a little bit more intentional. Purposefully folding your trunk over your thighs. Maybe you add a little bit of help from the arms. Choose a foot position that feels good for your chair pose and then find your chair. This time, any arm position that works for you. We have a neutral spine position here, so if you normally have a little curve in your low back, it's fine. We don't want to overdo it. We also don't want to over tuck. So what feels like middle for you? Maybe do that a couple times. Yeah, tilt and tuck and then find that Goldilocks position, the spot that feels just right. Stand strong in your right leg, lift your left leg up. Test straightening that leg out in front of you, like a pistol squat. Make sure we're breathing. Set it down, same thing, other side. Creep the right leg forward, maybe it straightens. Heavy in the left heel. And then stand in Tadasana, nice and tall, rest your arms. Recalibrate your breathing. Stand on your left leg. Bring your right leg out in front of you, do what you want with your arms. Right hip, internal, external rotation. Try to keep your hips level. So that right hip will want to hike up on you. See if you can just roll the thigh bone. Take your arms to the T. Pause your right leg in neutral. Put a little bend in your left knee. And you're going to rotate on your standing leg this time. Open it up. Creep slow. Warrior two. Settle. And adjust. Spine nice and tall right over your hips. Flip your palms open. Reverse your warrior. Side stretching. When you're ready to exhale, let's take the right hand down, right heel up, runner's twist. Pause here. And then this round, let's come back to 2 hands to the ground first. Step your left leg back and then lower to a forearm plank. Walk your feet in more. Lift your bum for dolphin pose. So it's just like down dog. You can look back at your ankles. Push the floor away. Walk your feet back towards the rear of your mat. Come into a forearm plank. Option to lower the knees. Keep your upper back broad. Without over tucking the tail, try to just stretch it towards your heels so it doesn't rise up too much. Lower your knees. Untuck your toes. Lower your thighs and hips. Draw your heart forward through your arms. Sphinx pose. Anti-shrug your shoulders. Find a sense of your elbows trying to drag backwards towards your ribs. And then lower all the way to your belly. Pull your arms back beside your chest, just like for a push-up. Tuck your toes. Push to a table or a plank. Downward dog. Stretch your right leg in the air. Lift your left heel as high as it'll go. Shift forward towards a plank. Pull your knee to your chest. Step forward. Bend your back knee. Get it a little bit closer to your front foot, but a little bit wider from side to side. Hover your left knee off the ground like you're about to take off out of sprinting blocks. Fly your arms behind you, lift your chest. Let's think about scissoring the legs together. Front heel dragging back. Back hip pulling forward slightly. Now stand up and bring your left leg out in front of you. Do what you want with your arms. Slowly rotating open on this right hip as your left leg steps back. Warrior two, land light. Reverse your warrior. Breathe in. Side angle pose this time. Breathe out. You can nudge your right arm to the inside of your leg, left arm high. That right hand could hover here, or maybe it finds your yoga block. If you like to rest your arm on your leg, try not to put too much weight there, and maybe you externally rotate that right shoulder today and anti-shrug your right shoulder. One more breath. Power down through your legs, reverse triangle. Right leg goes straight this time. Right arm high, side stretching. Breathe in. Exhale your hands to the floor. Let's take runner's twist again. And then bring your left knee down. Straighten your front leg any amount for a half splits. Pull your toes towards your nose. Rebend your front leg. Lift your left knee off the ground, so you need to pull your toes back under. And now we're going to walk to the left for a side lunge on this left side. So I'm going to stay up pretty high here. You can look at Jeremiah if you wanted to get a little lower. Any amount of a side lunge is a good side lunge. Push the floor away. Come back to the front of your space, runner's lunge, and then any exit that you like. Child's pose, vinyasa, downward dog. Tucky's on my sweat towel. Great. Let's meet in downward dog. Noticing how these mid-class downward dogs might feel just a little bit different than the first few. Bringing awareness back to your breath cycle. Maybe you hear a sound with your breath. Can you be a little more patient with your exhales? Slow them down as well. Stretch your left leg up. Lift your right heel off of your mat. Start to shift towards a plank. Dome your back like a cat. Step forward and pause. Shorten your stride from front to back, but take your right foot out to the right a little bit and lower your back leg almost to the ground. You could step forward a little more, Jubes. Yeah, so a shorter stance so that your legs look like a pinwheel. 90-degree bend in hip and knee. Now as you fly your arms back, lift your heart slightly like you're gonna sprint away, but scissor your legs together. So you should really be feeling that in your outer left hip and glute, and maybe a little bit in this right quad. Drive your left heel through the floor, stand up, right leg hovers out in front of your hip, arms can do whatever. Breathe. Rotate on the axis of your left hip. Right leg reaches back. Maybe the left arm reaches forward. Land lightly on your right big toe first, then settle your warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Breathe in. Side ankle pose, breathe out. Find some stability here. Make sure that you are in control of the depth in your hips. Can you still get out of this pose with just as much confidence as you got into it? One more breath. Strong legs and hips and core, reverse triangle, left leg straightens, left arm reaches. Wait for your exhale, and then find that twisting runners. You might have to bump your right foot out to the right a little bit. Unravel your twist, bring your right knee down, straighten out your left leg any amount, half splits. Rebend your left leg, tuck your back toes, lift your knee, walk yourself over to the right, side lunge, anything goes, find your depth. That right heel could be up or down. Make sure it feels good in your ankle. Press the floor away, return to the front of your mat to the runners. And then we'll take our exit. What feels right for right now? Short little rest. Anything goes. Downward dog, child, kneeling. Quick sip of water. Wardrobe, check. Okay, I'm doing good on time. Let's work on a couple of variations of a kneeling side plank for our hips. Interesting, right? So we're going to come to tabletop and bring your right hand and your right knee about down the center of your mat. Swivel your right toes towards the wall behind you and step your left leg towards the back edge of your mat. So basically this is just a kneeling side plank. Jubilee and I practiced a spin on this the other day, so we're going to change it just a little bit. We're going to start by floating the left leg as you press down into your right shin. You can stay here, you can come back here, you can revert to the left foot down position at any time. Anti-shrug your right shoulder, really push into the earth here. Find some nice support through your core without being rigid there. And then you're going to sweep your left leg out in front of your hip like you're trying to show me your footprint. Oi. How are we doing with that? I could maybe high-five Jeremiah's foot. Now let's lift and lower just a few inches. Lift and lower that left hip. Press down through your right shin still. Last 3, 2, and and 1, step your left foot back. Come on up with your spine, shoulders over your hips. Inhale here. Exhale, side bend over your left leg. Come back to a vertical spine, arms like a T. Start to tip to the side like you're gonna bring your right hand down, and it's possible that you will have to bring your right hand down at some point. This is where you might need a little knee padding. We're gonna try to find our teeter again. So some of you might have done this with me before. It's awful fun. Let's say I decide I want this block here. Let's just like a backup. Without moving the left hip too much, just get the foot to hover, and then let your right hip and core control the teeter. So it might be tempting to wave this left leg around now. See if you can keep that leg still. Pelvis pretty neutral, tailbone reaching down towards this left heel. How do you like that one, Jeremiah? Good, right? Okay, let's come back to tabletop. And then sit back on your heels for a second. Side bend over to your right. Reach your left arm up. And side bend to your left. Right arm high. And then so we're not facing backwards, you guys, let's turn this way for our side plank. Left hand down, left knee down. Find the kneeling version first, just like a side plank. Float your right leg about hip high. Try to expand through the front of your chest, reaching your fingertips in opposite directions, using the floor. Press through your left shin. And now flex at your right hip. Try to bring your toes about in front of your hip. Leg as straight as it'll go. And then lift and lower. And step your right foot back to where it was. Rise up your spine. Side bend over your right leg. Did I do anything else on that? Oh, we gotta do the teeter. How can I forget the teeter? So just lean about halfway in on a diagonal till you feel this response here. It's probably gonna be mostly on the right side core, but you might feel it down here too. And then see if you can float your right leg. Maybe just lift your toes for a moment. Knowing that your toes can come down at any time. Left hand can come down at any time. But try to find that in between, strengthening through your left hip. This right side core is helping you to counterbalance and control your body in space. Are you breathing? Great. And then you're going to sit back on your heels again, kneeling position. You can turn any which way you like. We're going to stretch left first, right arm up. And then switch sides. Okay, let's have a seat. Bring your legs out in front of you. And let's bring our legs into the butterfly shape. Soles of your feet will meet. You can use your arms to pull your legs in a little closer towards your body. If you feel like your pelvis is rolling underneath you a little bit into that posterior tuck, you could elevate your hips up on a block or just move your heels further away from your body. Bring your elbows into the insides of your legs. Press your legs back up into your arms. Really low level effort here, like 3 on a scale of 10. Now keep your arms where they are and butterfly your legs down towards the floor. See if you can make a little space between your arms and your legs. Squeeze your legs back up into your arms. And use your arms to press your legs a little wider, but you're resisting against your own effort here. So both the legs and the arms are trying to meet each other. Now keep your arms where they are and try to pull your legs off of your arms towards the floor. Yes. One more set. Maybe you lean forward a little bit in your trunk, deepening your hip hinge. Press your legs into your arms are pressing back. Now keep your arm position, but try to float your legs away from your arms as you press your thighs outward. And then take it easy, bring your legs out in front of you. Let's go about as wide as your mat with your legs. And take your arms out to the T. Keep the legs really strong, drive your heels in towards the floor. Inhale, lengthen upwards in your spine. Exhale, rotate your chest towards the left. Keep dragging your right hip crease backwards because your pelvis will want to go with you on this twist. Nice. Come back to the center. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, keep your pelvis and legs working downward as you rotate towards the right. Draw your left hip crease back a little bit. And then reverse out of the twist. Any forward fold. So you could keep your legs like this. You could bend your knees and just fold casually over your thighs. You could take your legs wide, or you could make the butterfly again. Think of your tailbone shooting backwards, the front rim of your pelvis pouring forward towards your thighs. Send your sternum forward first, then soften down. See if you can breathe in towards the back of your rib cage here. So if you had lungs clear down here by your lower back. Slowly work your way back up to a vertical spine, and then take all the time that you need to lay down onto your back. Have your yoga block if you have one. You could also use a pillow or a couch cushion for this. We're going to take one active bridge today and then one restorative bridge. So set your feet about as wide as your hips, but keep your heels away from your body somewhat. So you don't have to try to touch your heels or anything. Just make a natural position here with your back for now. Arms beside you. Lower your low back a little bit more towards the earth as you try to curl your tailbone up between your thighs. And then lift just the lower part of your pelvis, right at your tailbone and sacrum. And then lift just a little bit more. Your lower back starts to peel off of your mat one vertebra at a time. And then find a bridge pose. Drive through your heels. Find a sense of your heels trying to drag back towards your hips. Let your top ribs and low ribs be heavy. Make sure your neck is soft and relaxed. Find a sense of your inner thighs trying to hug inwards, and don't be afraid to use your bum here. We're trying to get our hips to extend, and your glutes are your number one hip extenders. Let's come down one bone at a time. Keep your pelvis tucking under to lengthen your low back. Lay the back ribs down through that lower back area. Finally, we find the sacrum and the tailbone. And then take just a few moments to do whatever feels good. Windshield wipers are kind of nice here. Sometimes it feels nice to draw the thighs in towards your chest and rock a little bit. And then for bridge number 2, you could either repeat that. If you feel like your body is ready for a larger back bend, like a wheel pose, that'd be cool. Otherwise, we're going to use our yoga block or whatever you have underneath the sacrum for a supported bridge pose. And it doesn't have to be on a very high side here. Let's keep it low level. Be gentle. The block can be set long ways or wide ways, but make sure it's not in your low back. It needs to be really low by your tailbone. Legs can stay bent. Legs could go straight like Jeremiah, or you could invert your legs. Option 2, lay your eyes closed. Be with your breath. Notice how in these times of more subdued effort, your breath can be a lot more subtle and soft. No effort required. If your legs are inverted or stretched all the way out, rebend your knees. Root through your feet. Elevate your hips up so that you can slide your block out. And then one leg at a time, let's pull leg to chest, other leg stretches out. It doesn't matter which leg you do first. And switch sides. Okay, rebend your knees. Set your feet on your mat. Take your hips a little to the left. And bring your legs up and over to the right for a spine twist. You can stack your legs, you could stagger your legs, or you could wrap them somehow if you want for your spine twist. Make sure your neck feels comfortable in the position that you have it in. Adjust until it feels just right. Use some support from your core container to bring your legs back to the center and switch sides. Hips shift a little to the right, legs can come over left. Let your right shoulder be heavy. I always say this in twists, but I think it bears repeating. There's no need to push or pull your way too deeply into these twists. Your body usually knows when to stop. That's kind of hardwired safety mechanism inside your body and brain. No need to override that just to get more. Let's just take what we need here. Observe your natural breath cycle. Observe that lengthening stretch from your right hip all the way to your right armpit. And return to a neutral position. We'll take just a few moments of stillness and silence. So you could organize your body into a Shavasana-like shape if you would prefer to lay another way. Or take a seated meditation pose, that might be nice too. Just make a shape that feels like rest. So you can be effortless and give yourself the gift of stillness. keep your body resting and your breath natural and soft. Observe the areas of expansion inside you when you breathe in. And then follow your exhale all the way out until you're empty. And feel yourself land in that brief moment of stillness after your exhale ends. Continue to breathe in a way that feels right for right now, potentially expanding a little bit more with every inhale, and being even more gracious and patient with each exhale breath. Creating some awakening movement in your body now. Anything goes. It doesn't have to be very organized or symmetrical. Let it be organic and free. And stay connected to sensations and sounds as you maybe roll onto one side first, or if you prefer, you can just rock and roll your way up to your seat. Potentially to sit on your yoga block or kneel if that's better for you. Find a nice firm base at your pelvis. So adjust until you get it right. Fidget as you need to. And then send a lengthening wave up throughout the column of your spine, as if you could grow just a little bit taller in your seat. Let your shoulders be peaceful and natural. Bring some extra length to the sides of your neck and a softness throughout your jaw and face. You can take your hands onto your body somehow to make a connection inward, or press your hands together near your heart, just to give thanks for this time that we have to go inward with our attention. Being grateful for this platform where we can still stay connected even though we can't be together physically. Thanks so much for practicing with me today. Let these waves of gratitude and well-being and mindful attention spread out from you to everyone that you connect with. Namaste.